And later in sports, Ghana FA President Ketokruku insists decision on whether to resume the football season will be based on government's advice.
We also have business, and later in the bulletin.
Fellow Ghanaians, yo, Horarians, this your incoming president, the face of GH Rap.
It's not easy to be a celebrity or, to be a public figure.
Horarians, no move
He calls himself a face of GH Rap, but what about him has got social media buzz in the last few days? We'll hear from Emefa Apawu on Spotlight, and later on flip side, like I said, we'll hear from the Drunkard Association on the reopening of drinking bars directive. All that and more coming up here on Newsnight with me, Emefa Apawu. Please join me with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp is 0244340437. And before we head to the Apex Court, Ghana's COVID-19 cases has just gone up from 5,000 to 127 to 5,408. Joseph, you have details of it.
So that's correct. What that means is that 270 more cases have been added on, with the figure going up from 5,127 to 5,408. And the additional interesting bit is that there's been 2 more deaths happening, and the number of cases that have been added on is 270. And so from the update that we're just getting from the Ghana Health Service and the portal that updates the cases of coronavirus, now we have 24 deaths from the 22 that existed before, and now we have 514 recoveries as far as those who are getting better are concerned. But the total number of cases itself has now gone up to 5,408 as the confirmed cases. And the breakdown as it exists currently, as we've known, the Greater Accra region is leading with the number of cases, having 4,147 cases. 4,147 cases. The figure in the Ashanti region is also virtually gradually inching towards the 1,000 mark. Now they are around 726. Central region has 192. Eastern region has 99. Western region 61. Western North has 56. Volta region 34. Upper East region 26. The OT region 24. And the Upper West region 21.
So that's the latest in terms of our COVID ranking. We have 5,408 cases, 24 deaths, and 514 recoveries. We'll head to Obuasi pretty much shortly, where it's become the epicenter of the virus in the Ashanti region. They've recorded a number of cases, and more than 80%, about 80%, we're told, of the cases recorded in the Ashanti region. We'll give you more on that. Let's head to the Supreme Court now, because concerns have emerged that the Apex Court's decision allowing Martin Amidu to continue to hold office despite exceeding retirement age could spell doom for young people seeking employment into public service. Former Deputy AG Dr. Dominic Ayene dragged the AG to court, arguing Mr. Amidu cannot hold office as special prosecutor because he is more than 65 years of age. The court, in a majority 5-2 decision, disagreed, dismissing the case. Court correspondent Joseph Akable spoke to Dr. Ayene shortly after proceedings.
I must say I am extremely surprised by the decision of the court today, dismissing my writ by 5-2 majority in favor of the Attorney General. As you would all recall, this was a writ challenging the appointment of Mr. Martin Amidu as a special prosecutor, and the basic argument of the writ was that Mr. Martin Amidu, at the time of his appointment, was 66 years old. And by the Constitution, especially in Article 199 of the Constitution, I argue that he is above the age for appointment into the public service. And my point was that the office of the Special Prosecutor falls squarely within the public services of Ghana. And at the age of 66, he was above the mandatory age of retirement of 60, and then also the voluntary age of appointment on contract of 65. And so I'm at a loss as to why the court today said that, my writ has been dismissed. But the court didn't give any reasons, and said that we could apply for the reasons, given by the judges in the majority and the minority from the register of the court. So until then, I'm unable to say why, and we'll get back to you when the reasons are available.
But knowing that the decision is 5-2, are you considering the possibility of, studying it and maybe a review on the books for you? Well,
I don't think the review window is very narrow, unless you can show that the court erred, grievously, and that the fact that the court erred, resulted in a miscarriage of justice. It should not be possible for the court to take a second look at its ruling. I don't want us to come back re-arguing our case. So I don't think, we will be thinking of a review. Unfortunately, the precedent that is going to be set will allow for appointments of persons who are over the age of 65 years. Persons who are 70 years of age can be appointed into the public service after they've retired at the age of 60, and not giving our young people the opportunity to serve the Republic in the public services of Ghana. And I think that is a foreseeable consequence of the decision of today. But until we see the reasons filed by the justices, I'm unable to say anything further.
At this stage, what do you want the special prosecutor to do going forward? He has no writ against him now.
No, the special prosecutor, I didn't sue the special prosecutor. I sued, let me say this. Initially he was brought in as a defendant because we thought that he was a proper party to be joined to the action, given the fact that he was the one who was going to be materially affected by the decision. And so we brought him in, but the court thought otherwise, and that's why he was struck out as a party. Going forward, I think the Attorney General, will just, we will all abide by the ruling of the court.
That's the former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni there. Let's speak to Alhaji Nusa Fuseni. He's a ranking member of Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight, sir. So you are the makers of the law, of course, subject to the interpretation of the Apex Court, and they've done so today. Are you satisfied with the court's decision?
Well, thank you so very much for this opportunity to speak to this issue, quite topical, expanding of the frontiers of jurisprudence in this country. We need to await the legal reasoning that informed the court in arriving at a 5-2 decision to say that there was no violation of Article 191D and 1991 of the Constitution. And so, yes, everybody was taken aback. I, for instance, was taken aback. I have been following the case since its inception. I have always believed that the plaintiff had marshaled unassailable points to go to court to convince the court that the appointment of the special prosecutor was improper and unconstitutional. The courts have assailed the arguments of the plaintiff. So you all would like to understand the reasoning behind the decision of the court. And that's what I can say for now.
Well, I'm curious, did this issue ever come up when you were putting together the law, for instance, on this age issue?
The issue could never have come up because we were establishing a public office, pursuant to Article 190 of the Constitution. The appointment of the Speaker was of the Special Prosecutor was pursuant to Article 195 of the Constitution. We were quite sure. I mean, when we were establishing the office of the Special Prosecutor, we were left in no doubt that that was a public office. I've read the arguments of the Attorney General, and it's quite novel and some innovative legal reasoning. And one we want to know whether he succeeded in persuading the court, or the court so moto thought that the appointment of the special prosecutor was proper and in accordance with law. So we need to await the decision in the sense of the publication of the judgment, so that we can read and understand what went into the decision.
Okay, so whilst we wait for the detailed reasoning, though, what do you make of the concerns regarding the implications for young people getting employment into the public service? There are even others who argue that we may well want to take a second look at the retirement age at some point then.
Well, I think that is what we are leading. That's what we are leading towards, or we're driving towards. I mean, if you can appoint people into public office for public service who cannot be said to be public officers, but public servants, and by which reason they are not bound by the retirement age provided in the Constitution, then so that's why you are not able to understand fully, because in the public service we had about 3 categories of workers within the public service. That's those who have entered the public service as public servants through the Public Services Commission and matching their time until retirement. Those who are consultants and specialists who are in the public service by reason of contract. They are contract workers, but they're public service providing, public officers providing public servants. And the category of public servants who contest elections, win their constituencies or national elections, and become public servants because they are offering public service, and they are put in on the, their salaries are charged on the consolidated fund. Then lastly, the judiciary, who are providing a public service of a different category, who even the law makes exceptions for, and in terms of certain class of the officers of the judiciary on their retirement age. So, but now there is a fourth variant to the public officers provided by the decision in the court and the Attorney General. So we want to know what this fourth variant is.
Okay. We're grateful for your time there. That's the ranking member on Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Inusa Fuseni. It will stay on matters relating to the special prosecutor because MP for Boko Central, Mahama Ayariga, is accusing Mr. Martin Amidu of persecuting for other reasons than the pursuit of justice. Martin Amidu's office is prosecuting Mr. Ayariga for alleged tax evasion and procurement breaches in the purchase of an ambulance and 3 vehicles. Mr. Amidu calls Mr. Ayariga his son. In the following interview on PM Express on the Joy News channel last night, the Boko Central MP and former Information Minister opens up about his relationship with the man he once called his father. He spoke to Evan Spencer.
Well, I mean, the father that I describe him as being is based on his relationship with my father. It's not because we are related by blood.
And he gives shelter to your father, he said, when he came.
Yeah, I said that when my father was in exile, during the PNDC days, he, was very supportive, helped my father.
So in that context, you still consider him as a father?
Yeah. That's why I see him as a father, because of his relationship with my father.
That hasn't changed in spite of your trouble.
No, it hasn't changed at all. It's unfortunate what he's doing.
What is he doing?
Well, I mean, prosecuting me on the basis of the facts that he has, which I also have. I don't think that those facts warrant prosecution. Purchased an ambulance for the constituency, and I wasn't even the only person involved in the entire process. The branding of the ambulance. By God and man, I didn't brand the ambulance.
Who did?
I told them who did it. The issue came up. I called to find out who branded it, and then I was told who branded it. So when I went for interrogation, I didn't brand it, but Mr. X branded it. Do you know that up to date they haven't called Mr. X to find out?
How long has it been since you told them?
About 2 years now.
2 years?
More than a year, I believe.
But the case is still in court.
Yeah, more than a year. No, they decided to even go and prosecute without calling the person to find out whether it is true. I'm saying this on authority because I know the person. the person has told me that he has not been invited by anybody to be questioned as to whether or not he branded the ambulance.
And 2 years had passed.
So you can see that this person is not looking for the truth.
What is he looking
This person is not out there to do justice. This person is just looking for Ayerga.
Why?
And thinks he has found Ayerga.
Why?
But I have confidence in the courts. I believe that the courts will do the right thing.
Why would the father do that to his son?
Take the vehicles. Take the vehicles that are evaded customs duty. I said, I didn't evade customs duty. And you know, very interesting. All lawyers who are listening to us will tell you that you probably should not even be prosecuting me alone. You should be prosecuting me, the agent, and the customs officer. Because there's no way I, the owner of the vehicle, who never dealt directly with the customs officer, you can easily succeed in court against me when you haven't brought in the agent.
Yeah.
Unless you're saying that the agent will come and say, oh, the minister, the member of parliament, you know, induced me to go and corrupt the customs officer. And I can say on authority, that the customs officer did appear before the special prosecutor's office interrogators and indicated very clearly that they don't know me. They've never dealt with me, which is true.
Because they dealt with the agent.
They dealt with the agent. And in spite of this evidence, my father still insists on prosecuting me.
Okay.
And I know on authority, and I believe this will be proven in court, that he wrote to the bank that gave us the loan, asking whether somebody who they extend a loan to can buy more than one vehicle.
What did the bank tell
And the bank said, well, it's a loan we've given to the person. We are more interested
in repaying,
in the security. And the person has used his salary and his ex gratia as collateral. So whether he buys 10 vehicles or buys 2 vehicles, that's a matter.
So he has this evidence?
He has the communication from the bank.
It begs the question, why would a father do that to a son?
And that is the question you should ask him. Go and ask him, why would you do that to somebody you describe as your son?
You said in this interview that it can possibly be because he's seeking justice. If that's not what it is, what it is? What is it?
Well, maybe a father finding a way to teach his son how to live and the lessons of life. I don't know, but I don't believe that that's justice.
Is it a witch hunt?
I feel hunted. There's no doubt about that. Whether he's a witch is another matter, but I feel hunted.
There's a close line. If it's not prosecution, it's persecution. Is it persecution?
I have no doubt that this is persecution. I have no doubt. This is persecution. People ask me, is it personal? But because of family reasons, I don't want to answer.
This is a relation that is broken down. Honestly speaking, is it?
Yes, it has to be. Me, I have forgiven him. All I'm trying to do is to prove my case in court. That's all I'm seeking to do. Forgiving him. Yeah, look, Uncle Martin's children are my friends.
You still talk?
His daughter is a friend of mine. I still call her. She calls me. A few months ago, when before President John Mahama went to the Upper East, I picked Martin's daughter in my car. And we drove together.
This is recent.
This is recent.
While the father was prosecuted.
Whilst I was in court with Uncle Martin. I don't have any issue with his children. I don't have any issue with him.
Do they sympathize with you?
Who?
His children. Do they sympathize with you?
They do.
They sympathize with you?
No, they do. They do.
They must have spoken to their father about this.
I don't know if they have spoken to their father, but when they meet, at least not the other children, but the daughter, I'm in regular contact with, and, she will talk to me and say, well, you know how our father is, so you just fight it. You just pray that it all ends well for all of us. And I assure her that, look, this won't change the relationship between you and I.
Okay.
And I can assure you that it won't change my relationship with
his children.
Uncle Martin himself.
You heard there the Boko Central MP, Mahama Ayariga. We've been joined on the phone by a daughter of the Special Prosecutor, Madam Hagar Amidu. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. She has an intervention on what we've heard so far from Mr. Ayariga. You heard him make mention of the fact that he traveled with a daughter of Mr. Amidu and they sympathize with him on this particular issue. Thank you very much for your time, Madam Hagar Amidu. If you can hear me, I would want to find out what exactly your intervention is.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you very much once again to your listeners. Actually, yesterday around 9 p.m., I was watching the television, and then I heard him over saying that he is free with me. We had conversation together. I've never ever sat in his car. I've never interacted with him. That is why I have to go around and look for the number to call you guys and then set the record straight. I have never interacted with him.
You have never interacted with the Boko Central MP? You have never sympathized with him?
Central MP, Honorable Mahama Ayariga.
And never sympathized with him on this particular issue?
Never. I'm not part of it.
Are you the only daughter of Mr. Martin Amidu?
No, I'm not the only daughter. I'm the first daughter.
So could it be that maybe it's your other sister or anything? Have we found out if it's not you, it could be your other sister, because he actually did not mention your name?
Yes. He said the one in Boga. I am the only one in Boga. And I'm the only one in Ghana. And there's no only other daughter apart from me who is in Ghana and residing in Boga.
Okay.
So he's just indirectly referring to me.
So what is your relationship, for instance, with Mr. Ayariga? Because I've heard you say you've never interacted with him, but I know they've all said it publicly. At some point, you were all living together. I don't know, but what's your relationship with Mr. Mahama Ayariga?
Actually, we used to have a good relationship until this issue came. I'm not part of it. It's none of my business. I'm not a special prosecutor. He should deal with the special prosecutor. I don't even know whatever is happening. So I don't know why he should come out and talk about me and mention my name, or neither to mention that about his daughter. I'm not part of it. I want him to leave me alone.
So are you saying that you severed ties with him because of this particular issue between him and your father?
Come again?
I'm saying that did you sever ties with him because of this particular issue that we're talking about? Because you said you used to have a good relationship with him. That's how
I used to have a good relationship with him. But that does not mean if I see him, I greet him. I'm not fighting with him. I'm not having any grudge with him. This one is between he and my father. And that is their way. I'm not a politician.
But has this issue in any way affected your relationship? Because your father calls him a son, and you've lived under the same roof at some point before. So I would want to find out everything that is going on. Has it affected the family, your relationship, and everything as we speak?
It has never affected our relationship. If I see him passing, I will just greet him as a brother. I've never sat down to talk about him between whatever is happening in his office, regarding to my father or neither to my their special prosecutor's office. I've never ever sat down to talk to him about anything.
Very well. We'll leave it here. We are indeed grateful for your time. That's Hagar Amidu. He's the daughter of the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, reacting to an interview we had with Mr. Mahama Ayariga, the Boko Central MP, on PM Express last night with Evans Mensah. You heard Mr. Ayariga mention that he claimed in that interview that he gave Mr. Amidu's daughter a lift to the north and they talked, and that the daughter even sympathizes with him and has asked him, Mr. Ayariga, to fight the matter. in court. We'll see if we can raise Mr. Oyariga on this matter, and this is certainly not the last you're going to hear of this particular issue. That interview is still available on YouTube, on all our platforms, also on Facebook. You can catch that full interview of the Boko Central MP, Mr. Mahama Oyariga, with my colleague Evans Mensah on PM Express. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. We go on to some other issues.
I'm crying. I can't say. Why did you do this to my mother? Why did you do this to this woman, please? I cannot. I'm trying since you started the program, brother. Please. I can't do anything. I'm okay.
A broken caller into the Super Morning Show today, unable to control his emotions after hearing the distressing story of a 3-year-old boy abused by his own father. The man whose name was given as Ebenezer Osei is said to have whipped the minor with a wire and a belt, leaving him with severe wounds to his back, thighs, and hands. The boy has since been hospitalized at the Menchia Government Hospital in Kumasi, while the 30-year-old culprit is in police custody. Erastus Asaridonko has more in the following distressing report.
Junior's body depicts a prisoner of war tortured in a concentration camp. Deep cuts and marks of assault spread over his back, hands, and thigh, with 2 huge bumps on the forehead. As little as he is, Junior is able to narrate what happened to him. Barb is Junior's 26-year-old mother who dated the child's father, a national service person, for about 7 years. The relationship collapsed because of what she alleges was physical abuse by the man.
When he is angry, he can hit me with anything he finds. Sometimes he bites me on any part of my body. That is why I broke up with him.
Ebenezer reportedly took the child on a weekly visitation and started abusing him. She says it took the intervention of police at Bokrum to rescue the child, despite attempts by the father to conceal the act.
Anytime when I called him, he refused to pick my calls, and I decided to go there and check on the child, but he said no. So I reported him to the police. So I came with the police, and they took my son to the police station. Then that I know my son is having several injuries on his body. He said he beat him. He said Junior is stubborn. That is why he beats him up with wire and belts.
He is now in the custody of the Domestic Violence and Victims Support Unit of the Menchia Divisional Police. Menchia Divisional Police Commander ACP Kwekubwa tells Love News police have sent the docket to the prosecutions unit to have him remanded in proper custody whilst investigations continue.
We, as we talk now, have sent the docket of the matter to the Police Prosecution Unit, JUPOL, for study and further action, hoping that the man will be remanded into custody for us to continue with the investigations.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
And this particular issue drew anger from listeners of the Super Morning Show, who today called for severe sanctions for the man who is now in police custody. Erastus Asaridonko joins us on the line. Erastus, we understand the 3-year-old boy thankfully is responding to treatment.
Exactly, and doctors think that he could have been discharged, but they are allowing him to spend another week so that he will be able to walk by himself and will be able to get out of the pain to start the process to get him back to normal life before they discharge him.
We'll get to hear from them shortly on that. But you've also been interacting with the social welfare in the region. What have they been telling you?
So the social welfare, I understand the regional director and his staff have been paying the victim a visit at the hospital. They've also gone to speak with the suspect in custody as well to find out what his motives were for that matter. They are telling me at the moment that the suspect is showing remorse. He says he had an attack and that he's been suffering from some unseen occurrences. So he came to Kumasi to get treatment. So he doesn't know what came over him and for him to commit such an atrocity, and he's sorry. So I've been speaking with the social development officer of the social welfare department, Godfred Abogo, a short while ago.
The department, through the regional director, has directed that the child should be kept at the facility for at least a week. The department is liaising with a psychologist at the Coventry Teaching Hospital to be brought in to speak to the child and her mother, but the mother looked visibly troubled and needs some counseling. The department has asked the hospital through the medical team not to charge any medical bills in that regard, and the department is making recommendations to report to our national office so that if there are any immediate assistance that may be required to assist the lady going forward, same will be done. But for the meantime, we are absorbing the medical bills.
That's Godfred Abungo, is a social welfare personnel in charge of this particular issue. Of course, we are following this matter closely and hope that we get to its logical conclusion. Let's do business now with George Riafe.
Hi, Emefa. And coming up in business, recent partial lockdown continues to hit hard at the economy as April inflation hit 10.6%, the highest in 8 months, and Registrar General extends deadline for companies to file their annual returns by additional 2 months, the new date being ending July this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office, essential and First National Bank. We are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank. How can we help you? And it has been 25 years of joy in providing the platform for businesses to engage their respective regulators for their sectors.
When you want it, just Momo it. When you tire for the long queue in the supermarket, just Momo it. And when you really want that beautiful new blouse too, just Momo it. And when you won't get that thing, when you will get fresh to impress, and you know who, just Momo it. And when you need to pay that your utility bill and domestic staff set, just Momo it. And when you want send love to the family for back home, just Momo it. So many ways there. When you go use your MTN Momo wallet or make payments with scan to pay. When you go use the QR code, or you go use the merchant ID or on bank POS terminal. You go also transfer money between mobile money wallet and bank account, all on MTN Momo. Enjoy real convenience in all your financial transactions and live life the brighter way with MTN Momo. We are good together. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Mr. Barr has big dreams for his business, Barr & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
We know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501-683-914
or 0232-000-015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
DSTV a young papa and Nuntina yet time machino, and we thank you for choosing to stay at home and save with us. Yet time machine, Entina Yemamo discount when you top up your DSTV subscription. Annie, you crow with kids educational channels like Mindset, Da Vinci, and the Ghana Learning Channel, as well as lots of kids entertainment and up to the minute news update on all the happenings across the world and home. Plus our captivating local and international drama, thrilling series and movies, all in one place. To get your discount, just top up your same or preferred subscription using MTN Momo, Vodacash, Slide Pay, Express Pay, eTransact, or your banking app, or SMS *389*5# and *759#, and we will upgrade you to the next package at no extra cost. Yes, that's easy. Onyankupadie and Noani DSTV. DSTV, yet time machine.
But the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Boost Sensationary. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Boost Sensationary.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Everyone needs a partner who will be there through the good times and tough times. We are that partner, and we appreciate your loyalty. At GoTV, we always have your back. That's why we're giving you a free upgrade on your next package. Simply stay connected and get upgraded to the next higher package at no cost. Annual upgrade at no cost. Stay home, stay safe, and stay remotely connected with MTN Momo, Vodafone Cash, Slide Pay, Express Pay, eTransact, or your banking application, or *389*5# and *759#, and we will connect you with non-stop family mix entertainment on BET, Africa Magic Family, Rock 2 and 3, Telemundo, News, Trace Jama, and an array of kids learning and fun channels to wow you. Thank you for being our loyal partner. Stay entertained. GoTV's got your back.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has given strong indication that government will be heavy on technology to help develop the economy and raise the required revenue. The initiative, according to government, has become necessary because of challenges in mobilizing revenue through the traditional means. He has been speaking at a program in Accra where he says that going this way might be the best option.
We truly at a critical juncture, given where we are with COVID, and really the vulnerabilities that we have seen revealed because of the experiences that we are going through. It's quite humbling because you look at about 23% of our population that earns below maybe $400, and then you look at what happened lockdown, in which it was quite clear up to a point that given that 90% of our population is informal and they go out each day to earn wages, it became increasingly impossible to continue such a policy.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The economy is still reeling from the shocks of the recent partial lockdown. Latest figures from the Ghana Statistical Service shows that the rate went up significantly to hit 10.6%. This is the highest since April 2019. What are these signs that there are challenging times for the economy, and what were the drivers? There is more in the following Business Desk report.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, GSS, the partial lockdown affected movement of some foodstuffs, resulting in majority of traders hiking prices. This caused a 14% price hike in food commodities. Professor Samuel Kobnenim is government statistician.
From a locally produced perspective and an imported commodity perspective, we realize that locally produced items was 13.1% and inflation for food items was 4.9%. This is attributed to the fact that food inflation that is driving inflation for the month of April 2020 largely locally produced oriented.
According to Professor Enim, the GSS would engage governments on this new data gathered during the lockdown to help shape policy. The spike in the inflation rate also supports an earlier warning that even though foodstuffs were excused and classified as essential, transporting challenges will cause an increase in prices. The inflation data also showed that the shutdown of our borders resulted in prices of local foodstuff going up significantly. On the other side, inflation going up would definitely impact government economic planning and expenditure. For individuals, it could affect your cost of living and negatively impact investments and even the cost of borrowing as well.
And that was a business desk report. Meanwhile, economists with Data Bank but he said doesn't think that the trend will continue for that long.
A one-off situation, probably the May print will also show something slightly higher or just around the current level, but thereafter it should.
Commission chaired by Justice Emil Short's recommendations on how to deal with political party vigilantism was partly rejected by government. At the sitting of Parliament's Appointment Committee yesterday, Supreme Court Justice nominee Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, who was a member of the commission, urged other institutions like Parliament to take up the issue and push for the full implementation of the report.
You are guided by law. The rules say that when you hand in your report, you are functus officio. So it's not your duty to go chasing people to implement. It becomes property that honorable members like you should follow up, not the commission. The commission doesn't exist anymore. It is functus officio. And when, for example, judges take decisions in the court, the judge may have really sweated over the decision. It goes on appeal and it is reversed. The judge doesn't hold a press conference to complain. That's the nature of it.
Would you have wished personally for better?
Well, when you give advice, you hope that it will be taken. But what I know of advice is that those who want it don't need it, and those who need it don't want it.
Supreme Court nominee Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu at Parliament's Appointments Committee sitting yesterday. My colleague Daniel Dancy has been studying the report of the Commission which was published last year. He joins me in studio. So what exactly did the Commission investigate? Just refresh our memories.
Yes, so remember Emefa, that shooting incident in the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election that left scores of political party activists injured. The shooting took place close to the home of the NDC candidate in the election, Delali Brimpong. And among other things, the Ningo Pram MP Sam George was slapped by a national security operative, Mohammed Suleiman. So the Justice Emil Short-led commission was established following that incident, and they submitted their report on March 14 to the President and made some recommendations. We know that according to our analysis here at Joy News, 58.9% of these recommendations were rejected.
Okay, so there were some major recommendations. Take us through them.
Now, I'll just take you through those that were accepted by government, and I'll tell you the ones that government rejected as well. Government accepted the recommendation to review and restructure the Ministry of National Security to properly define the roles and responsibilities in part. They partly accepted this one. They also accepted that as a matter of urgency, the police and national security developed protocols for the assessment and rating of intelligence received, because they were acting on intelligence, those national security operatives who went to the home of Jalali Kwesi Brimpong. They also said that SWAT teams and police officers must have rigorous training in crowd control, arrests and perimeter security. They called for standard rules for issuing weapons to be enforced, and that operatives should be trained to internalize human rights rules, and the rules of searches and seizures in respect of a citizen's privacy should be strictly enforced. these were the recommendations that government accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the ones governments did not accept.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, they did not accept that the Ministry of State appointed, or the Minister of State appointed at the presidency to the Ministry of National Security should have a clearly delineated role with responsibilities indexed to that of a substantive sector minister. They also did not accept that the SWAT team of the National Security Council should be disbanded and that specialized units of the police be used in such special operations. Remember Mohammed Suleiman, I mentioned him earlier, the man who allegedly slapped Mr. Sam George. Government did not accept that Mr. Suleiman must be prosecuted for this offense of assault, to which slapping of the Honorable Member of Parliament. They also rejected the Commission's recommendation calling for Brian Ichampo, Minister of State, then Minister of State in charge of National Security, to be reprimanded on the basis that the Commission failed to establish the factual basis for the said recommendation.
Okay, so we've been tracing or tracking some of the recommendations that government accepted and where we are with its implementation. It's been difficult, but head of our political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah, was one of those who appeared before the Commission and made inputs into the report that part that government accepted and others that they rejected. He joins us on the line. Evans, so what would you say are the possible consequences of government's decision not to implement the entire report, the Ayawaso West Wogon Commission's report in full? And I'd also want to find out if you've been able to check where we are regarding implementation of this report.
I mean, where we are is that we don't have an update yet. It's as simple as that. Yesterday, of course, everybody anticipated when Henrietta Mensah went before the Committee for Vetting that this matter will come up. Now, I think in the scheme of things, and she mentions rightly that institutions such as Parliament could have played a role, but institutions such as Church, the executive, the media, across the board, I think we've all dropped the ball on this one. Because Parliament itself, and I think where we are currently, it's a simple case of it happened last year, and many predicted that, we'll do the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election commission. The white paper will come out. Give us a few months, we'll forget about it, wait for the next elections, and let's hope and pray that it doesn't degenerate into violence, which is exactly what has happened. Now, Parliament, for example, has a greater responsibility here. They have all the powers under the Constitution to bring before it the Attorney General, for example, to explain to the people of the Republic where we are in implementing those aspects of the white paper, of the report that the white people accepted to implement. We haven't seen that yet. And so that's where we are, really.
Thank you very much. That's the head of our political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah. Remember, he was one of those who also appeared before the Ayawaso West Wogon Commission and, of course, made inputs into the final recommendations that was put out. Let's do sports. Benedict also.
Yes, Emefa.
So you can call me Evans.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Now, Ghana Football Sketchukuku says a decision on the future, the current football season will be based on government advice. Now, according to him, a final decision on whether to cancel or restart the season will be upon the advice from the state. He spoke to Accra-based the radio station APFM.
We'll continue to work closely with government and the health ministry to see what the turnout would be given considered circumstances within Ghana and beyond the shores of Ghana. Beyond the shores of Ghana, I'm talking about FIFA. However, if we are to cancel the league, it will be another challenging period for clubs, for players, for referees, and all active participants of the sport.
So that's Keto Kruku, who is president of the Football Association. Away from the locals in Syria, plans to resume its season on June 13. If Italy's government approves this. Now, the League's General Assembly met today via video conference and approved the date for the resumption in accordance with government decisions and medical protocols. Teams will be able to train collectively from Monday.
Do you drink? Benedict, no,
I
you
drink
don't.
water.
Okay, that's fine. So the green light has been given to drinking sports now that's to operate, and this has raised some concern. But let's speak to the convener of the Ghana Drunkards Association on flip side tonight here on Newsnight, Onya Drybone. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So you've heard the news. Welcome news for you.
Hello.
I'm asking, I'm sure you've heard the Ghana Tourism Authority's directive for drinking sports to operate. That's welcome news for you.
Yes, we are very much grateful, and we are very, very happy for their decision, because this is a call we made, I think, about 4 days ago, for the president to lift the ban on drinking sports, because it has affected most of our businesses. About 3,422 drinking spots has been shut down because of this virus, because there was a ban on the closure of drinking spots, because most of the bartenders, bar owners are using their initial capital to feed their families during the lockdown.
So how are you hoping to observe social distancing when you get drunk? How are you going to observe social distancing?
Yeah, with the social distancing thing, we are not hoping to get drunk, by the way, because we are responsible drinkers. However, in case we get drunk, that is why I've always been making that call that it is the responsibility of the Ghana Police Service to ensure that whoever that gets drunk should be taken to a nearby police station or hospital for proper assessment. I hope you are getting me.
Yes, I'm getting you. But you know that with the COVID season, we've had those who produce alcohol now getting into sanitizers and all. Now that they've opened, wouldn't they have a huge task, satisfying you and also giving us sanitizers?
You see, that is what we are very much disappointed in most of the alcoholic companies, because we are patrons of those beverages. You made a lot of bitters for us, market it as an aphrodisiac for us to drink. We took it with good faith. We've been drinking our heart out. We've been making merry with all your beverages. But since the COVID-19 came, no alcoholic beverages recognize the Ghana Drunkards Association that we have been patronizing their beverages. They go about donating to hospitals, nurses, and so on and so forth. And the same alcohol is being used to produce the sanitizers. So if we have been consuming it for the past 15, 20 years, and you can use it to make sanitizers without donating to us, what are you taking it for?
Okay, I'll leave it here. Thank you very much for your time.
We are really disappointed in the Ghanaian distillery companies.
Okay.
For neglecting the association. However, we appreciate the lift on the ban on alcohol, because myself as the president, I've been sick for the past 2 weeks because I've not been getting any drink to drink.
Okay, so now tonight you are going to start drinking.
Emefa, as I'm talking to you now, the moment the press release was out, I had 3 thoughts of ginger to boost my immune system.
Okay, that's Onya Drybone. Forgive me. We're grateful for your time. That's the convener of the Ghana Drunkards Association. Ending tonight's edition of Newsnight. We'll leave you with the face of GH Rap, Poyo, and Strong and Sassy is coming up with Enimwa Enimado. And Enimwa, what are we talking about tonight?
I'm still stuck on the Ghana